Hello YouTube, reborn royalty here again. Tonight we're going balls deep on this one. I wanted to kind of get into the night that I was shot. I wanted to get into once we were found by the police, how we were treated. Wanted to get into how we were treated by medical staff, like EMT and nurses, like the night of, and then like the days, weeks, months, years thereafter, the doctors, the DA. I kind of want to just get into like the highlights of why it's hard for me to get along with people in most environments, to like hold down steady jobs, because after I went through everything that I did, it's complicated. I find myself kind of just drifting from job to job. It's hard to stay down, like, hold a job down, especially in the economy that we're in, where like, motherfuckers, employers that is, they cannot like you for, the fact that I have a beard. That's something that gets said to me a lot. Or something like I want to work 3 to 4 days a week, but I'm willing to put in, anywhere between 10 and 16 hours a day, just so I don't have to show up for 5 or 6 days a week. Just certain little things that would allow me to have the space to pursue things that make me happy, as well as nurture the things inside of me that need to be nurtured, so I don't have like relapses in my or regressions in my emotions, and see someone that is affiliated to those that hurt me, and then I break their face at the grocery store or something. So I'll start with the night that I was shot and kind of just go from there. I pulled up to this house, and I was under the impression that this dude's parents were asleep, and that, so like, don't pull up with the music all loud. Like lights off, you know what I mean? Just like the certain things, just, cause don't wake my parents, that's what he said over the phone. And then, I get there, and we're about to make an exchange of, I was bringing some weed, he had brought some money, or so I had thought, until they pulled a gun out, and literally within 2 minutes of after pulling over, maybe even less, which call it, they pulled out a weapon instead of cash and proceeded to rob us, starting with me, and they pressed the rifle up against my balls, and basically we're all like, the shooter pressed himself, the guy who shot me, and I shot him in return. Well, he shot us, he shot me and Gabby, and I shot him in return, and a few moments later, he pressed his forehead up against mine, and tells me, like, quietly, in like an aggressive whisper, I guess, if that makes sense. He's all like, shut the fuck up, don't move, or I'll blow your balls off and kill you and your friends, or, something to that effect. And I'm just like, what are you supposed to do when someone's got you dead to rights like that? So I was just like, okay, whispered it back. And so dude eases back off me ask where the work with the weed, was, and or like grab it slowly, or they kept reiterating, "We'll kill you, we'll kill you." So with one hand, I reach into the boot, the trunk of my car, go into the flap, grab the little box it was in, hand it to them, and then they're like, "Where's the rest?" So right off rip, setup, and won't get into that too much, but definitely, what you call it, like, maybe they freaking thought I had more than I did, someone fucking, might have fucking opened their mouth about some shit, how people are, loose lips sink ships. And they got upset by the amount because, the boxing is in, you could tell it wasn't a whole lot. And they even asked her, like, to double check, they're like, how much is it? What's in there? And when they realized there's only 4 ounces of weed, they were like, where's the rest? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they didn't believe me, so they proceeded to take my watch off me. They for some reason they didn't take my wallet, but they took my watch. And I was actually wearing this, but I had it tucked at the time, just because, like, I don't know, for some reason I did. And what you call it, so they didn't put their hands on that, but that'll come into play, down the road, for, like, to help with my case. But point is, though, is that at this point, they, the shooter and the bagman, they backed up a little bit of ways from me, a couple steps, and they're like, put this in the bag, put that in the bag. And I put my bag, they put the box of weed in their bag. When they said to give us the watch, I just stuck my hand out at first because I didn't want them to fucking shoot me for, you gotta comply in those kind of moments, because when you have a fucking big ass rifle in your face, what the fuck you supposed to do? It was on my lap, and then they backed up and it was in my face. So I'm just kind of like, fucking got me right now, Thankfully, they didn't feel. I don't know how that happened, to be honest, because the dude had the fucking rifle right up against my junk, and for some reason they didn't feel the pistol that was sitting right there. I had it covered, obviously, but for some reason they didn't feel it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he confused it for a belt buckle. I don't know what the fuck. They obviously were high, like the way that they were speaking, like, their eyes, you know what I mean? Just like, if you've ever been around people who fucking smoke meth, and you kind of know what I'm talking about. And the way they were, like, jittery and shit, the way they were, like, snapping their necks around at each other, like, just, like, and the way that they were also so, like, fucking, like, I don't know how to put it, like, casual about it. It was like really fucking eerie, And that's another thing that came into play down the road was, but point is, stick to what was going on. So they weren't happy with what they got off me watching weed, so they proceeded to go around the vehicle, and the shooter walked around the vehicle, pressed himself up against the driver door, like, kind of like opened it with his body and stuck it at my girlfriend, who was in the passenger side, and my friend, who was in the back seat, or ex-girlfriend, now. And I'm seeing him move off in the peripheral, of my eyes, and I'm sitting at the trunk, and when the bag man had proceeded to step out of the line of fire, I figured, here's my opportunity, because the shooter doesn't have the gun directly pointed at me, and the bagman was getting out of the way, so that tells me that he's about to light up the whole car once they're finished robbing what they can off of us. I had never been robbed before that time, and it wasn't a successful robbery. They didn't, the police got everything, so I never technically was, like, I was shot in a robbery, but I was never actually robbed, if that makes sense. But I've had guns pulled on me a few times. And so I kind of understood certain things, even though that was the first and, only shooting I've ever been involved in. Um, but if you ever played, paintball, video games, you can kind of like understand what firearms do. Like, if fucking someone shoots the gun through a car, it's gonna go through the car and hit my friends and me. You know what I mean? And I knew that that was the only opportunity that I was gonna get, so I reacted. And I remember I was sitting, uh, like on like the little ledge of my trunk, and I was looking at the bagman in his eyes after he had like stepped over to the side and was kept staring at me. And I remember I just kind of just like looked down and just kind of was like pretending to go along with it, and then I quickly, like as I was raising my shirt and pulling a gun, I quickly moved positions so that when the shooter would go to shoot at where he thought I was last, that I would no longer be there. So I quickly repositioned myself to behind the rear right side, um, what's it called, wheel well, and I started shooting over the car as to not hit Gabby or Kayla, who were still in the vehicle, and I shot over the hood of the vehicle at the two guys, and I think I tagged him, the shooter that is, immediately, because I saw him like, because we were very close to each other, like it was just whatever the distance is of a Honda Civic, you know what I mean, the width that is, and we were when the initial shooting began, that's the distance we were from each other. We were literally just a few feet, fucking shooting over the hood of a car. He was shooting through my car, I was shooting over the hood of the car. Thankfully, where he shot through the car just kind of went like, Gabby was sitting behind my ex Kayla, in the back seat, and if he had been sitting on the left side behind me, the bullets would have went through him, like the first barrage that the shooter shot at us, which called that would have went through like his gut. But what ended up happening is that he got, well, let me start with how I got hit. So I'm shooting over the hood, and I get like a handful of shots off before I fucking get hit, because I'm trying to pick them. I only have 10. I only had one clip that night, so I was trying to pick my shots as best I could, and really put them on target. And I was, popping them off, pop, 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 and that motherfucker was just already dumping his AK. And he shot through the car where he thought I was, and I was seeing the sparks, like, right in front of me, like, go through the fucking, it was like sparklers on 4th of July, fucking sparklers coming out the trunk, or sparks coming out the trunk, fucking hit, bouncing off the street. I'm hearing ricochets, fucking, boom, 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 and just fucking seeing all that fucking, like, fireworks going, like, when you ever knock over a firework, fucking, you just, like, shooting out into the street improperly, it's fucking, that's what it kind of looked like. That's my kid brain, rationalizing the shit I'm seeing. And fucking seeing that, sending shots over the hood, and then I see them fucking run across they run across the yard of a few homes, and then as they're cutting across the street where their getaway car had kicked on and pulled out of somebody's driveway, as soon as I pulled my weapon and just began shooting, I saw their car kick on. Like, as soon as the shooting started, I saw their car kick on. Couldn't really see what kind of car it was from a distance. It looked like some type of sedan. But I gave the description to the detectives and all that. But Point is that we were shooting at each other, and then they fucking, I'm not quite sure when I hit them because it was nighttime and they were black, or they are black. So it's kind of like a natural camouflage, as silly as that might sound. Uh, it's like harder and the shooter was like a darker type of black, and I grew up with plenty of black folk in the South, so like it was really hard for me to identify him even at a later point. Whereas the bag man who ended up getting bagged and arrested and sent to prison, it was easier for me to remember what he looked like because he was a lighter complexion and I was in low lighting. Like it was mostly just like the moon, you know what I mean? Because in Florida, there's not many street lamps in certain neighborhoods. And so I get hit as they start to cross the street to hop into their getaway car. Not sure when their shooter got hit, but the police made me aware that I had hit not the person that they ended up arresting and sending to prison, but I hit the guy who had done the shooting. Um, and they never were able to find him, they said that he either, that they for definitely sure that he was a foreign born person, like he wasn't an American citizen because his DNA wasn't in any database. And then they said that he must have either died and they dumped his body in the woods, and he got ate by some critters and no one ever found him, or he survived and he went back to whatever fucking country he came from because there was just no record of him like in throughout the entire state or country. Um, so yeah, that's what happened from my understanding of that dude. The bagman, he went to prison. I was at the trial that testified against him. Um, Again, that's more stuff down the road. So we tag each other. I go down. I remember I hop back up. And when I got hit, it felt like someone swept my leg with a bat, and I just kind of like started to fall. And as I looked down as to why I was falling, I saw the second round go through. And then in my brain, I started to like slowly kind of like recognize that I had been shot. And when the second bullet went through, like when I saw the first round go through, it just kind of like caved my leg in, like it created like a second joint, which go in the middle, because it exploded the tibia at that point, and it just kind of like went like that. And I remember that's when I started falling, and then I got hit again, which call it like like the right underneath the knee. So the first round came in right here, came out like the back, and then the second round hit me at this like the side and came out like that. But yeah, and I saw it spin around like a speed bag in the gym, my leg that is. And at first it was like the sensation of getting hit with a bat, like the sweeping, like forceful knock, and then it was like this was the adrenaline. It was like a numb, dull pain, like almost like when your leg falls asleep on the toilet. And then I hop up, still shooting, mind you. I'm fucking, I throw myself up with my right leg, my good leg, and my left hand. Threw myself up as I was shooting, hobbled on one leg, which call it around the car, got in, and then this is when the pain really kicked in for me. Was after I had gone into the car, I had jumped in and dumped the rest of my mag as I was hopping around. And I remember fucking, like, as soon as I hopped in the car, dropped my gun, and then, like, the fucking, I don't know if it's because of the weight of me jumping in or, like, the bullets that was still smacking the car, but the fucking door, like, shut, slammed on my mangled leg. And mind you, I'm sitting fucking straight, in the car, and my left leg is like that, outside of the car. And the door crushed it. And it looked like during Halloween, when you see people put the limbs in the back of their trunks, it was like that. And but real, and that's when that crunch on my leg happened from the car door. That's when I really, like, all that pain just came rushing in, like, all at once, and I really felt it. And it felt like fucking, it's like hard to describe, to be honest, dude. It's just like a bone crushing. It was like your leg being like, it was like your leg being crushed and set on fire at, like, the same time. Like, it was as if someone, like, was kept, like, imagine, like, getting your leg hit with a bat and then just fucking kept hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting it, even though it's all mangled. Like, it just kept it just, like, you just kept feeling this, like, this fucking pulsating fucking smacking. And and it was like a burning, pulsating, like, fucking, like, a bone crushing, like it was kind of hard to explain to people, but yeah. um I didn't, what's funny is that I only thought I got shot twice. Only when I woke up in the hospital the next day, this is kind of skipping ahead a bit. um they had to tell me that I was shot 4 times, and that because I didn't feel the graze or the flesh wound. Like, my brain was so, like, maybe if I didn't get so fucked up off those 2 shots, that I wouldn't have, like, I would have been able to feel the flesh wound more. But yeah, I didn't feel the flesh wound. The one that went through my right calf, I didn't feel it at all until the next day. And then it just felt like achy, like, you know, it just felt like achy, when, like that gym ache. Like when you go to the gym and your muscles are real tight from lifting heavy weight and all that. It was just felt like that. And then it was a combination of that with Charlie horses that would come at random during the day while I was awake, and at night that wake me up. And but yeah, backtrack standpoint. And so I'm in the car, my leg get crushed by the car door. I throw the car door back open. I'm bringing my Humpty Dumpty ass leg into the car, throwing it into fucking where like, underneath the fucking driving dash. And at this point, my old buddy Gabby hops over the console and, no homo, but, like, kind of sat on my lap, just like, mind you, I'm grabbing my fucking leg, me thrown in the car, and he, like, hopped over. It was that kind of sin on top of me, like so, and then, like, he was manipulating the fucking the gears and pedals and all that, and was pulled us out of there as I'm fucking pulling my shit in the car. And then and we're getting shot at,